Okay, so we're going to unpack this. You sent over a game report, and it's not just any game report. It's this clash of titans, I guess you could call it, between the Iden Pantterit Orange and the Downtown Money Shooters.
And right away, I noticed something kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The author readily admits that Pantterit Orange, they didn't actually win this game.
Right.
They lost to the Downtown Money Shooters, 65 to 41, but it's not written like a loss.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It makes you think like, what kind of victory are they celebrating here?
Right, exactly.
So we're going to dive deep into this game report.
Yeah,
And I guess our mission today is to go beyond that final score,
absolutely.
really extract those key moments, the surprising efforts, and figure out why this game was so memorable that they lost.
It suggests a different way to look at competition,
Yeah.
and perhaps even life itself.
Yeah, and it seems like the author was right there in the thick of it, deeply invested,
Mm.
and they had a real knack for finding the humor even in their own team's shortcomings.
Absolutely.
So let's see what we can uncover for you today about teamwork effort, and maybe even the joy of participating, regardless of the final score.
The joy of participation, exactly.
So the author starts things off by telling us, they lost. They're not beating around the bush,
Right.
but almost immediately they shift the focus from the losing itself to how they actually played.
I think that's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
The author is valuing something beyond just the outcome. It's
Right.
the journey, the process.
Yeah.
And that held a certain significance for him.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting. This is where they start talking about individual players, and it's not your typical play-by-play.
No.
They go into these little character sketches, and they really highlight those quirky human aspects of the performance.
Yeah, I love that part.
Take Captain Miko, for example.
Yeah.
4 points, 2 assists, and 4 steals.
Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But the author hilariously describes him as this, like, relentless tax collector in April,
Oh, wow.
just taking what he can get. And then there's this image of his persistent defense, like an unwanted Tinder match always popping up when you least expect it.
Oh, my God.
It makes you laugh. But it also makes these players really relatable.
And it makes them memorable, too.
Yeah.
And I think what stands out for me is how the author is using these comical comparisons
Right.
to highlight Miko's key contributions.
It's not just about the stats. It's like they're painting this picture of his style of play.
Exactly. It's about capturing the essence.
Right.
So the takeaway for our listeners, I think, is that impactful contributions can sometimes be understood through unexpected analogies.
Yeah, or metaphors or anything that really helps you connect with it.
Exactly.
Now we have Tay, who was on fire at one point.
Okay.
15 points, 58% accuracy, including this beautiful three-pointer that got an audible ooh from the crowd.
Wow.
But then almost immediately, the very next attempts from beyond the arc are described as a birdhouse without a roof.
Oh, my God.
Talk about a quick shift in fortune, right?
So unpredictable.
It really is.
Which is the nature of sports,
Yeah.
really.
And human performance, too.
It's absolutely. You have your peaks and your valleys.
You can't always be on fire.
Exactly.
Now, then there's Junie,
Okay.
the ninja.
And ninja.
0 points on the board,
Oh,
but sneaky 4 steals and 2 rebounds.
I like this guy already.
Yeah. And his whole thing was apparently that he just appeared out of nowhere and disrupted plays.
Oh.
The author even jokes about him following an opponent to the locker room.
Oh, my God.
That label, the ninja? It's perfect for capturing that unseen influence.
It really is.
It makes you think, though, how often do we overlook the contributions of those who operate behind the scenes?
All the time. I think it's something we should all think about.
Absolutely. Now, Ambanda, 1 successful shot out of 10 attempts.
Oh, my God.
Not exactly a stellar night.
No, not at all.
But his celebration for that one basket was apparently like he just won the lottery.
Ah.
Over the top. And the nickname Brick Top, they bestowed that upon him.
Brick top.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Not for any resemblance to Vinnie Jones, but for the sheer number of missed shots.
Yeah.
But, he still put in the effort. 3 rebounds, 4 steals.
That's what matters.
I think Aunt Betty's story is a good example of how enthusiasm and effort can be just as compelling as perfect execution.
Maybe even more so.
Yeah.
You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the drive.
Yeah, he might have been Bricktop,
Right.
but he was a key part of that team's defense.
Absolutely.
Passion and a willingness to try.
Mm.
I think that's a valuable takeaway from this.
Absolutely.
All right, then we have Carice, who played a more pragmatic game, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
7 rebounds, 2 points. But the author kind of portrays him as being in his own world at times.
Really?
like maybe pondering the complexities of parallel parking or something. So
Wow.
it adds a different flavor to the team dynamic, right?
It,
Not everyone's on the same wavelength.
it reminds us that every group has a spectrum of personalities,
Yeah,
different approaches.
and you need that.
Do you need that? Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, now, Iso Miko, or Big Miko, physically imposing force under the basket.
Okay.
8 rebounds, 2 successful free throws. But he apparently moves at the speed of a glacier.
Oh my God.
Always in the way, though.
Okay.
And those free throws were as unpredictable as an auctioneer's hammer.
Wow. So chaotic.
Very chaotic. But again, the author's humor, it really paints this picture.
It does.
And it shows how even those with these very defined roles, they can still have their own unique ways of going about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the author, Lucas himself,
All right.
he manages to put up 11 points,
Mm-hmm.
including this deep three-pointer that was so beautiful that it made a referee cry.
Oh, wow.
But immediately after that moment of glory, he loses the ball because he's distracted by someone in the audience.
Oh, no.
And his free throw percentage, 50%, which he proudly states is better than his math grades.
That's great. I love that he included that.
Yeah, I think that self-awareness and his willingness to just kind of poke fun at himself, it makes it feel more genuine.
Absolutely. It's so relatable.
Yeah, the spectacular three-pointer and then immediately fumbling the ball.
Oh, my God.
It's so human.
It is. Yeah.
Then we have Jean DeBoer, who brought some European charm to the court.
Right.
6 rebounds and a single three-pointer described as this, like, elegant moment amidst the chaos, like finding a perfectly brewed espresso at a gas station.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's such a good analogy.
So unexpected, you know.
Yeah.
But it shows that even within this chaotic team dynamic,
Yeah.
individual brilliance can shine through.
It can.
All right, next we have Tuoma's 4 rebounds. And apparently he played such tenacious defense that he may or may not have caused an opponent to cramp up.
Okay.
The author isn't sure if they were faking it or not.
Oh, wow.
So that little bit of uncertainty, I think it just adds to the storytelling.
I think it's a good reflection of what it's like to be in the moment.
Yeah.
You don't always have all the
I
answers.
just got to go with it.
That's right.
And finally, Nicholas,
Okay.
1 rebound, 1 assist. But that assist was described as like a palm tragically missed by Miko, who was adjusting his sock.
Oh, no, what a shame.
The comedic timing is just perfect.
Perfect.
But it does show how sometimes those beautiful moments,
Yeah.
they can get lost in the mundane realities of a game.
It happens.
Yeah?
Life gets in the way sometimes.
So if we take a look at the team stats as a whole, 41 points. Not going to win you many games.
Yeah.
But here's something interesting. They racked up 18 steals,
Oh, wow.
more than their successful shots.
Interesting.
Yeah, the author even questions the appeal of purely clinical offense
Yeah.
compared to this more chaotic high-energy style.
Yeah. I mean, they had failed alley-oops. They're tripping over their own feet.
Right, but they're playing hard.
Exactly.
So I think what they're doing here is they're challenging conventional wisdom.
I think so, too.
You know what really defines a good or entertaining game?
It's not always about winning or losing.
No, they're making a case for effort disruption,
Yeah.
a bit of delightful disarray over flawless execution.
It makes you think, what kind of success is the most engaging?
Yeah, what's going to be more memorable? And even the timeouts in this game were not your typical strategic huddles.
Oh, really?
One of them was completely dominated by Isomiko needing to use the bathroom.
Oh, my God.
It really gives you a sense of that human side of this team.
Yeah, they're just regular guys.
Right.
They're playing a game.
But I think the real heart of this report
Yeah.
is when the author talks about the fight, the effort, the smart humor and the camaraderie.
That's a good list.
They say that these are the things that mattered more than the score.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the intrinsic motivation and the value of that shared experience.
It does.
You know, even in defeat, the bonds that they formed, the effort that they put in, it's presented as a significant achievement in itself.
Makes you think about your own metrics for success.
It does.
How are you measuring your success?
Yes.
Is it all about winning, or are there other things?
Yeah, are you having fun?
Right. Exactly.
All right, looking ahead at the next game, the author is hilariously optimistic. He claims they can practically smell their first victory, which he likens to Isomiko's post-game teabags.
Oh, my God.
Strong, animalistic, but full of promise.
That is quite the image.
It is, but I think it captures that unwavering hope,
Yeah.
that resilience that can keep a team going.
Absolutely. Even after a tough loss, you gotta stay positive.
Yeah, you got to keep that momentum going. And the final takeaway from the author is simple but powerful.
Okay.
Despite the loss in Lhasa Salo, they had a lot of fun.
In the end, that's what matters.
I think that's a crucial element that often gets overlooked.
Absolutely.
In that pursuit of victory, sometimes we forget to have fun.
It's true.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, taking in this deep dive?
Well, this seemingly lighthearted game report
Yeah.
actually offers some pretty profound insights
Yeah?
into how we define value and success.
And not just in competition, I think.
No, I think this applies to everything we do.
Right.
Our relationships, our work.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. You have this snapshot of a team that found genuine joy in the struggle and that camaraderie,
Yeah.
regardless of the outcome, and their individual quirks, their spirit.
Yeah, the personalities really shine through.
They really do.
And if we connect this to our listeners' own experiences,
Yeah.
what wins are you pursuing, where maybe the way you're going about it and the people you're doing it with are more important than reaching that final goal?
What can we learn from a team that celebrates its effort, its humor, its heart?
Even when they lose.
Even when they lose.
That's something to think about.
That's something to think about long after the final buzzer of this deep dive.
Indeed.
So that's it for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
See